Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I do my makeup and hair for like an everyday type of look. This video is also in collaboration and sponsored by Lumiere Hair. They sent me this gorgeous 20-inch deep wavy lace frontal wig, and oh my gosh, I'm obsessed, guys. I love this hair so much and I can't wait to show you guys how I customize it. So let's go ahead and get into this look. So I just showed you guys what the hair looks like right out of the packaging. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over inside out on my mannequin head so I can begin to bleach the knots. I'm going to be using a mixture of some Salon Care 30 Volume Developer and this powder bleach from Clairol. When I'm bleaching my knots, I like to make sure that my bleach mixture is kind of on the thicker side so that way it doesn't seep through the lace. So once I have it mixed up in my bowl, I'm just going to go ahead and start applying that mixture onto my lace frontal to bleach the knots using a butter knife. I prefer to use this over like a brush because I feel like it's just a lot easier to spread this way. So I'm just going to spread that all over the frontal until everything is covered. So once I'm done applying my bleach, I'm going to put a plastic shower cap over my wig just to kind of keep the heat inside and leave that on for about 25 minutes. And from there, I just went ahead and shampooed and conditioned the hair off camera. So this is what the hair looks like right after, all washed and clean. I'm going to add a few styling products just to kind of get the curls really defined and everything. The first thing I'm going to use is a curl defining mousse from Silk Elements. I just added some onto the palm of my hands and ran it through the hair using my fingers. And then I went over it using my paddle brush just to make sure the product is going from the roots all the way to the ends. I also use some of my Lotta Body wrapping foam, but this I just mostly added to the ends of the hair. So now it's time to install our wig. I did go ahead and pluck my frontal off camera, so you won't see me do that, but I'm going to show you guys how I do everything else. I'm going to cut little holes by my ears so that way my wig cap applies a lot flatter when I lay it down with my hairspray. And then using the Got to Be Free spray, I'm going to start spraying that on the hairline to start securing that stocking cap. And to dry the hairspray, I'm going to be using my blow dryer. I like to have it on a cool setting, and you just want to make sure that you have everything completely dry before you move on to the next step. Using a brow razor that I picked up from my local beauty supply store, I'm going to start cutting away all of that excess stocking cap, and just be really careful with these razors, guys. I'm an idiot and ended up cutting my forehead with this thing. So just be careful when you're using these razors and just make sure to take your time as you're cutting your stocking cap. Then to reinforce that hold and just make sure that and no edges are kind of like lifting, I'm going to go back in with my Got to Be hairspray and my blow dryer and just add a little bit on the very, very edge just to make sure that everything is nice and secure. Then to make my lace blend a little bit better into my skin tone, I like to go in with a foundation that's slightly lighter than my natural skin tone now. For me personally, I think using a lighter foundation or powder or whatever works better just to kind of compensate for the darkness of the lace. Because the majority of the time for me, like the lace is a little bit darker than my natural skin tone. So having that light foundation underneath it kind of helps balance it out in my opinion. But yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and apply that all over my stocking cap just to make sure everything blends nice and seamlessly into each other. Now it's time to secure the frontal, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on my wig, and I'm gonna use my Got to Be Free spray as usual to secure my lace frontal. I prefer to leave the excess lace on my frontal as I'm doing this step. For me, it's just a lot easier for me to kind of get the frontal to lay flat. But once I'm done like securing it and drying the hairspray all the way down, I'm gonna go ahead and cut all that excess lace right after. This wig definitely deserves some edges or baby hairs, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that next. I'm going to start pulling some hairs from the front and using that same razor to kind of trim them down a little bit. I'm also going to go in with my hot comb and push the hairs in the direction that I want the baby hairs or the edges to go. So that way it's a lot easier for me to shape them and everything like that using my wrapping foam. But yeah, I'm just going to do a few swoops here and there. You guys know I love edges and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and add those using my edge brush, and once I'm done, I'm just gonna put on my little satin scarf so that way it can go ahead and dry down as I'm doing my makeup. And can I just say how much I'm loving this hair? The curls are so pretty. I'm obsessed with the length. I'm not really into like long hair that much anymore, especially now that it's summer. I feel like this length is perfect for the summertime. The curls look super fresh. This hair just gives me like beachy summertime vibes, and I'm so here for it. You guys are definitely gonna be seeing me wearing this wig again in the future. So since I'm giving you guys like everyday hair type of vibes, I thought this is the perfect opportunity to just give you guys my everyday makeup routine. Like the makeup look that I wear when I'm just like running errands, when I want to go to the mall, or I'm just like, you know, out and about and I don't want to have like a full cut crease, whatever going on. So this is the look that I like to go for. So I don't really do anything as far as eyeshadow is concerned. I pretty much just added some concealer. This is the Makeup Revolution concealer in C12 color. It's really close to my skin tone. I used it to carve underneath my brows, and I spread it all across my eyelid because I like to have my eyelid one color. And then I just set it with some Too Faced Peach Perfect setting powder, so that way the concealer doesn't crease in any of my lines. Usually when I'm doing this type of look, I like to do a winged liner. So I'm going to be using Beauty Bakerie's gel liner. This is just your basic black liner. I love using gels over liquids when I'm doing everyday looks because for me, for some reason, I just move a lot faster with them, and it's just a way easier to create a winged liner with gels for me. So I'm going to create a nice like winged liner there. I don't think it's too dramatic. I feel like for me, this length and thickness is like perfect for like an everyday glam. I keep it pretty simple with the eyes. It's pretty much all I do. I'm gonna add some lashes and mascara right after. Usually I like to go for my mascara, like my favorites. And for me, that's the Lancome Monsieur Big mascara. This is like my all-time favorite mascara, guys. I love this mascara so much. And I'm gonna add a couple of coats to the top, and right after, I'm gonna put on my lashes. Lashes for me, when I'm doing this look, just kind of depend on how I'm feeling that day. Sometimes I'll do like a fluffier lash like today. Other times I'll do like more of like like a wispier lash or something more like spacey. It just kind of depends on how I'm feeling. Today I'm using some Tatti lashes. I think these are in the style TL5, but they're really fluffy. I just kind of wanted something really cute and fluffy for today, so I went for those. And I'm just gonna pop those on using a pair of tweezers. And I always use my Duo lash adhesive. This is the brush on one. I never use any other lash glue. This is the only lash glue I use. Even for like my cut crease looks or dramatic looks, this is the lash glue that I use because I do get that question a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to skin. I primed my skin first using the Farsali Rose Gold Beauty Oil and just spread that across my skin just to kind of make sure it's nice and moisturized. Then right after that, I'm gonna add my primer. I'm using the Touch and Soul primer. This is like one of their pore minimizing, like skin smoothing primers. I love this one so much. It just makes the skin look really flawless underneath your foundation. So I'm gonna add that using a brush. And then for foundation today, I'm using the Juvia's Place I Am Magic foundation. I've been loving this one. I'm in the shade 400 Ethiopia. So I'm gonna use a buffing brush just to place that all over my skin and just make sure it's nice and blended in. If it looks like I have foundation on my forehead, it's because I was using another foundation prior to this one because I wanted to test it out and I couldn't find a shade that worked for me. It was just like all over the place. So I ended up just using my Juvia's Place one. But yeah, so right after foundation, I add my concealer. I'm also using the new I Am Magic concealer from Juvia's Place. I use a mixture of two colors. I'm using 15 and 18. 15 I use first as like kind of like a base concealer just to brighten, and then I use 18 specifically underneath the under eye area on the innermost part because I like to have that area a little bit brighter than the rest of my under eye. And from there, I went ahead and blended out my concealer using a brush and then went back over it using a sponge just to make sure everything is really well blended. Then to set everything, I was so excited to use this powder. This is also new from Juvia's Place. It's their I Am Magic setting powder. I'm not sure if this is the lightest one or the second to lightest one, but I'll make sure to put the name in the description box. I was thinking about using two of the colors that I got, but I ended up just using one of them and it worked out perfectly. So I'm just gonna add that to all the areas that I used concealer to make sure everything is nice and set and doesn't move anywhere. I then went in with my MAC Mineralize Skin Finish. I love adding this just on the innermost part of the under eyes as well, just to keep that area nice and bright. And then to set the rest of my face, I use my MAC Studio Fix powder in the shade NC50. I'm then gonna go in with some bronzer. I'm using this new bronzer from Morphe. So I love this bronzer a lot. It's just very warm. I think I might have added a little too much today, but that's okay because usually bronzer and blush are the two things that kind of disappear first on my skin or start to fade away first. I think when I was applying it, I didn't notice. Probably like my lights probably washed the color out. So if you are using this one, just be careful about applying it because it is a little on the warmer side. So it's easy to kind of go overboard with this one. But yeah, once I have my bronzer on and everything, I added a little bit of blush. Today I'm using a blush from the Juvia's Place Saharan Volume 2 blush palette. I can't pronounce this name, but it's this orangey color right on the side. I'm just gonna take a fluffier brush and just kind of dust it on the highest point of my cheeks. I'm then gonna move back to the eyes. I'm gonna add a couple of coats of mascara on my bottom lashes next. Then to highlight my brow bone and inner corner, I'm going to use this pigment from Jlarue Cosmetics. It's in the shade White Gold. This color is so pretty. It just has like the nicest like shimmer to it. I'm just going to add that to my brow bone, like I said, to highlight, and I'm going to use a damp brush to apply it on my inner corners. I pretty much have the same technique for my brows. I just go in with my Anastasia Dipbrow pomade in the shade Ebony, and I've been loving a more sculpted brow as of lately. Sometimes I switch between like a more natural, like feathery type of brow and this type of more sculpted brow. It just kind of depends on how I'm feeling. But for each style, I pretty much use the same products. So I'm just going to create a line at the bottom, a line at the top, and then use a really light feathering strokes to create brow hairs to fill in any sparser areas within my brow. Then to set those hairs in place, I've been loving the Anastasia Dipbrow gel, and this one is in the shade Dark Brown. Then of course you want to add some type of setting spray. I feel like it probably would have been better to use the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray, but for some reason I gravitated to this one from Wet n Wild. This came from the Crystal collection. It's their Mega Glow setting spray. I'm just going to spritz that all over and then dry it down using my fan. And then to highlight, I'm going to be using MAC's Oh Darling. And of course, I'm going to hit all the high points of the face. So cheekbones, a little on the forehead, bridge of the nose, tip of the nose, Cupid's bow, and just a small amount on the chin. And to finish up the look, I'm going to add some lips. I'm going to first start off lining my lips using ColourPop's lip pencil in the shade BFF3. Then to fill in my lips, I'm using Uma Beauty's Badass Icon lipstick in the shade Eartha. Then to add some extra definition, I'm also going to use ColourPop's lip pencil in the shade Pitch, and very lightly, I'm going to draw a line on the outermost edge of my lips just to define them a little bit more. And of course, I had to go in with the gloss. I'm using JCat Beauty's Lip Tonics lip gloss in the shade Honeymoon to Space. And that completes this look, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Definitely keep letting me know what kind of videos you guys want to see in the comments. But thank you again for watching. I love you guys, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.